Hi, hello everyone. This is Ranjan, co-founder of Learnist. I warmly welcome you all for this Learnist Success Talks. And I would also like to welcome Juhi Gupta, who is CEO of Superprofs. A warm welcome to you, Juhi Gupta. Thank you for accepting the invite.
Thanks, Ranjan. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Juhi. Thank you. And before we start the Q&A session, I would like to just give a couple of minutes intro about Juhi. So Juhi holds a postgraduate degree from IIT Roorkee, and she has a keen interest in marketing and sales. So currently, she is working as the CEO of Superprofs, and she is heading the Superprof team. They offer great courses, online courses, and they are helping students to prepare for competitive and professional exams. Right. So they have hundreds of courses, and they have taught more than 1 million students online. And in this episode of Learning Success Talks, we'll be asking some interesting questions about Superprof, about Juhi's journey in this edtech industry, and I'm sure like there'll be very exciting answers from Juhi. It's been a very great brand to see. Actually, when I see Superprof, they have crossed more than $1 million in revenues, and they have taught millions of students and a huge content base. So it's really interesting for anyone in the tech industry to know all these achievements and what it has taken to be here. So without further delay, we will get started.
Sure. So I think a lot of you would know that Superpros was initially Oris Network, and it was a B2B setup. We had started in 2010. So when you are providing courses online, we have this opportunity to provide them at an affordable fee. Now, face-to-face or offline classes have they have to be charged at a higher amount. We did have we could have provided them at an affordable fee, and that is what we did, to provide affordable coaching classes to the masses. So that is how we evolved as Superprofs. We started Superprofs. We started with commerce courses. We have been experimenting with different exam segments time to time. We stick with some and we leave some, and then I would say the next phase would be when there was a change in leadership. Pierre suggested, that I start as the CEO. That was in 2019. Earlier in Superclubs, I have been, it's a whole journey. First, I joined as the head of marketing, and then I took over sales also. Then I moved to EGMAT, and then in 2019, I joined back as the CEO. So now we are primarily focusing on the commerce segments, that is CA, CS, and CMA classes. And in competitive exams, we have GATE. Right, we are working with a relatively small team, less than 20 people now, and that seems to work for us pretty well. So yeah. We had set up a lot of studios for the recording, and editing and everything, in different locations also, not just in different cities, but in different locations also. So with this, professors were able to record with ease, right? And in these segments that I'm talking about, each and every subject, so the syllabus is vast, right? And each and every subject at each level, requires hundreds of hours of classes.
Correct.
So, and anyone in this education department and anyone in course curation would understand that 100 hours of recorded content means at least 200 to 300 hours of time spent.
True.
Effort, I would say, what professor is doing, preparing at their homes, is a whole different ball game. I would not even get into that. But just in the recording studios, it requires at least 200 to 300 hours.
Yeah.
Right? Then there's editing and everything. So yes. So but that was, I think, it was an absolute essential thing for professors to get comfortable with this kind of setup. However, as time passed, professors, they got pretty comfortable with the different tools, the different softwares for recording, and also there's this, preference that if you can work from home, if you can record from home, right? Why not? So that is how we kind of moved from studios. We phased out the studios one by one slowly, and then we helped different professors set up studios at their home. So we started with essentially paid marketing on Google AdWords and Facebook, right? And as we built more audience, we realized that we do need to work on SEO also, but that was a long-term game. It will not have helped us in the short term. It takes time for SEO to set up.
Okay.
So we started with paid marketing, and because we wanted to reach the masses in a very short period of time, and that kind of helped us for a bit. And we wanted to start the SEO from scratch. However, we realized that there are a lot of helpful commerce blogs which already exist. So we kind of roved in some of these existing blogs to get that jump start. So after that, we once we enrolled these blogs in, like, we kind of acquired them. So after that, it was now the maintenance and further activities, the growth. So then we set up our own in-house SEO team also, apart from marketing team. And slowly and gradually, we cut down on our paid marketing expenses as we started getting results from the SEO. So because once a person is searching for a particular key term, I think, like we all are aware, their intent is very higher, right, to purchase, rather than just pushing as we would do in paid marketing. So
Right.
we've also tried different affiliates from time to time, but I think primarily what we stuck with was the search marketing campaigns, the display retargeting campaigns, and our SEO. So these things have been real assets to the organization. Yes, so this was back in, like I said, 2015, 2016, right? And you said that we had the early mover advantage.
Mm.
So word of mouth, especially in education industry, helps you a long way.
Yeah.
So once we started getting the initial leads, we had a whole telecalling team, and the main objective was for our users to try our courses. So we are essentially, we believe in our product, and we provide a good trial run. So a demo run for all our users, and they can just simply test the courses. They can see the complete syllabus that has been taught, because this is something very important in the segment, that the complete course, there's 100% comprehensiveness, there's complete coverage. So we kind of created this kind of a test environment that users can see everything. They can before they purchase, they can try it out, and they can watch the demo videos. And we ensure that whatever we are with Superpros, what you see is what you get. It's not that we have a different demo video altogether versus the actual course is different. So
got it.
Yeah, so the transparency is very important, whether it is within the team or even outside for this users.
Yeah.
So, and once the students got this kind of courses, they gave referrals, word of mouth. So, and we obviously kind of increased our campaigns from time to time. Secondly, like, apart from this online, first gap that we had identified was that the courses need to be provided online. At the same time, it's not just one professor that you have the option to. We have multiple professors. Right? Earlier, the option was that students could join multiple professors right from their course. Now we do provide multiple professors. They need to tell us that, okay, I want to switch from professor 1 to professor 2. But still they have the option of studying from multiple professors, and this is a very big assurance, I would say, to students, because understanding things, you may not a professor may be good, may have very high results, but he or she may not be the right person to you because you just don't understand their teaching methodology. You just don't understand their approach, and you're not comfortable with the way a person teaches. That is specific to a student. That has got nothing to do with the top professor also.
True.
So that's why when you have as a student, when you have this comfort factor that all right, if even if I don't understand from Professor A, I always have the option to study and understand from Professor B. Right? That helps a lot. So I think all these different things, when we were able to resonate with the students, with their needs, that is what helped us achieve higher numbers, and that was in 2016-17 that we were making these numbers that you're saying. Yeah. Right. So see, when you have so many competitors, I would say, right, then you have to essentially do something different, and you have to keep trying new things. So like I said, we do hold different webinars from time to time, as you said. Doubt clearing, notes, anything additional, free resources. Like our courses are not just video classes. We have a lot of additional resources which we provide free of cost to the students, so that their learning can be enhanced. Right? We provide thousands of questions to practice. We have different quizzes. All those things, they come along with the course itself, and at no additional price. Apart from that, also there is a lot of guidance that is required for students, whether they enroll with us or not. And this comes in terms of different notifications, because the exams are held twice a year. So each student needs to understand what is the registration process, where will I get admit cards, what is the date sheet, all those things. So with changing times, we did not just focus on our SEO. We also moved to video marketing, content marketing on YouTube, and we started releasing those notifications on YouTube also. So it helped us in both ways. Like YouTube channel was set up pretty well in advance, and it worked good, as well as in SEO it helped us to stay in good ranks, because Google shifted from from just blogs to helping more mixed content, right? So it favored mixed content, it favored more structured content. So we were able to take benefit of that, because we were anyway creating those videos. We kind of our plans kind of move around, not just, I would say, the courses that we have, but also kind of going to vernacular languages, because that is a demand that we keep getting. So as I said, like we have different identify different gaps from time to time. This is one of the gaps that need to be done to provide quality coaching in vernacular languages. However, I'd say it has been pretty great. Migrating this. I don't know how much of data that we had migrated, and those many courses, thousands of courses migrating to learners. The team has been really helpful, Learners team. Our little questions, and we can just simply reach out to the team and you. And I sometimes think that, okay, I'm really bugging these people, but then I said that's all right. I need this because I need to migrate my courses. Right. So I was initially, we did face a few hiccups, because again, I had to have this mindset change that all right, we were doing things a certain way, and whatever we needed could have been created right away. Now it takes a certain bit of time. Like we needed that super admin and sub admins facility, and you provided. So it took a bit of a time, but we were able to get that, and in that sense, it's a very good experience and journey for us so far. And I'm pretty sure that yes, we'll be here to bug you for a long time now.
Cool. So thanks once again, Juhi. Thank you and wish you a very best and happy New Year in advance. So hopefully we'll see you for a very long time and a very fruitful engagement with Learnist. So thank you.
Thank you, Ranjan, and thank you for hosting this webinar. I really like, that. And thank you everyone for attending the session and being here till the end, because and it's a very active participation. So thanks a lot for that. And this
Thank
is
you,
a great
Juhi.
opportunity. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.